Hotep, Alafia, Kamusta. Welcome to the Mind of Ro page. I am Obajaguna, Oguna Salamio. Today I'm going to make a video on how to live fearlessly. There's a lot of fear-mongering going on in the world right now. So my last video I made was on, are you a victim of fear-mongering? So if you would like to know if you are, go ahead and watch that previous video that I made. It's gonna go great with this video. And please subscribe to my YouTube channel at Mind of Ro. I also have a TikTok, an Instagram, and a Twitter at Mind of Ro. And I also have a Facebook business page at The Mind of Ro, where I do readings. So if you would like to get a reading done, please shoot me a message or a comment on either Instagram or Facebook, because that's where I do my readings over video chat. So, well, first, what is fear? So fear is false evidence appearing real. Fear is one of the lowest emotional vibrational frequencies, along with grief, apathy, guilt, and shame, which is why fear and all these other feelings tend to cause a lot of health issues and psychological issues within ourselves. So why are we fearful? Why do we do this in the first place? Well, it is a natural response to potential and physical and emotional threats. So it's not technically a bad thing, but it can be very unserving when we are doing it a little too much, if we're being reactive to life a little too much. So here are some red flags you are allowing fear to run your life. Number one, everything has to be perfectly your way or you feel panicky. We need to be one with ourselves and realize everything is never always going to be your way. Sometimes it's because you can't control another person's will. And sometimes we need to just admit that maybe we have another purpose other than the one that we may have been conditioned to believe that we have. We need to accept that. Number two is it's hard to decide what you want, so you just don't. If it's hard for you to make decisions, I am a diviner. We help people with that. Meditation helps with that as well, to seek some clarity. Please look into my other video where I share a recipe on white baths, which actually help bring clarity as well. We need to admit to ourselves that when we don't make decisions, the universe or other people will make decisions for us. And when that happens, it tends to be something we really don't want for ourselves. So we got to learn how to make decisions for ourselves so we can walk our own path, our own purpose, our own will. Number three is procrastination. You like to come up with excuses after excuses after excuses on why you are not doing what you told everybody else or yourself what you're going to do, or whatever else you have procrastination or excuses for. Number four, you tend to avoid your feelings with substance abuse and your lack of ability to express the way you really feel. So if deep down inside you feel a type of way and you have, like I said earlier, excuses and why you don't want to express that, then that's a red flag. You're living in fear. Number five is you constantly worry, not only about yourself, but with others, which causes a lot of arguments and fights with other people, because it actually brings you back to number one, is where you want everything to be your way. It's kind of the definition of being a control freak. So if you are dealing with any of these red flags, how do you stop living in fear? I have 5 steps on how to stop living in fear. Number one is a question you need to ask yourself, and this is going to be a hard one, I know, but we all have to do it or it will keep controlling us. You need to ask yourself, what do you feel guilty for? Because the frequency of fear is right next to the frequency of guilt. And a lot of the times why we feel fearful is because we feel guilty for something that we did in the past. We either don't want to get caught, or we feel like it might happen to us because we did it to somebody. Or we are doing something now and we don't want to admit it to the people we are around, and we're taking it out on them, which causes really toxic habits, relationships, and delusions within our minds. So you really got to be real with yourself and ask yourself, are you fearful because you feel guilty for something? Is there something that you feel shameful for that you haven't taken the time to heal and be one with yourself? Have you not forgiven yourself in something? Take the time to think about that. Like I said earlier, meditation really helps. Sit with yourself, be one with yourself, ask yourself, what am I guilty for? Why am I so fearful right now? What is making me do this? Number 2 is be in the now. Anxiety, which is fear-based, means that you are living constantly in the future. You're always worrying about the next step, always worrying about what might happen in the future. So learn how to be in the now, learn how to be in the present. Sometimes it really helps to just literally stomp your foot in the ground and just say, or even slap your body like this and say, I am here in the now. It is now. I am here now. And it helps you be present with what's happening right now, so you stop focusing on the future. Because we need to admit to ourselves, we have no control of the future. We have no control of the past. The past already happened. The future hasn't happened yet. You don't have any control over it. You only have control over what you are doing now. Therefore, what you resist persists. So if you're basing a lot of your actions off fear, you are most likely going to repeat the habit again, because you haven't been one with what you're fearful about, one with what you feel guilty for. And then it causes us to self-sabotage ourselves, because we are not in the now, we are in the future, which makes us keep doing the same mistake over and over and over and over again, or trying to resist something. And when we resist something, fear causes us to freeze up in our life and not make the moves we need to be making right now, because we're not paying attention to what's happening right now. So the next one is, what are you avoiding? This is another hard question. A lot of us don't want to ask ourselves this. What are you, because I just talked about anxiety and being in the now. When we're in the now, we need to really ask ourselves right now, today, what are we avoiding? Are we in a toxic situation with toxic people and we're trying to avoid it by trying to play nice and pretend it's not existing? Therefore, it's giving us a bunch of anxiety because we know that person's going to come home and blow up on us when they get home from work. Is that what's making you fearful? What are you really avoiding? Is there a bunch of thoughts that you actually push down in the bottom of your gut that you don't want to be one with, and you're avoiding it? Therefore, it pops up out of the blue, out of nowhere, which causes that's what I like to call the shadow self. I mentioned the shadow self in a lot of my videos. The shadow self is the aspect of ourself that causes self-sabotage. When we trigger, a trigger is when we blow up and freak out emotionally on people, causing fights and arguments because we are triggered by something that we have not healed in regards to a moment we were in the past, or an experience, or trauma, drama, whatever it is, and we haven't really taken the time to really evaluate that. So what are you really avoiding? What past experiences are you avoiding? And what are you avoiding right now? Really evaluate your life. Are you really working a job that you really don't enjoy? Therefore, you always feel subconsciously fearful that your life isn't going to be the way you want it to be. Are you in a relationship you shouldn't be in? So you're fearful every time you're around the person. You're fearful of the future love with this person because subconsciously you know this person isn't good for you. Are you avoiding where you live, for example? Are you not happy where you're at? So therefore you feel fearful all the time every time you're home because the environment you're at is not healthy for you. Be one with that. Be one with the moment, so you could really ask yourself, what are you avoiding that is causing you to feel anxious all the time, causing you to feel fearful all the time? Because the more you ignore it, the more problems is going to happen in your life. So we have to be one with that. Number 4 is be open about the way you feel. If you feel like someone is lying to you, then you need to be open about that. If you're angry because you feel somebody disrespected you and they're not acting as if they did, then you need to be open about that. If you're honestly not happy about where you work, then you need to be open about that. If you have loved ones around you and you have people who are very supportive and you feel insecure about, oh, I want to open a business, but I'm fearful about this, a lot of it's based off of you're just not educated on certain things. And it's okay to ask for help and reach out to ask somebody, I feel emotional sometimes and I need help. Can somebody who is a little more emotionally calmer than me help me be that calm person instead of constantly feeling anxious or fearful that you might do something or something might happen in your life that you don't want it to happen because you're not honest with yourself and you're not honest with other people around you. You got to be open about it because it causes a lot of arguments. If something happened in the past with a spouse and you didn't settle, sorry, my internet cut out for a second. We're back. So we need to be real about our communication skills. Are you having issues with not being able to communicate your honest feelings, your honest intentions? A lot of times we have hidden intentions and we're not being open about it and being open to the other people we are involved in, whether it's business, whether it's romance, whether it's friends, whether it's associates, whatever it is. It doesn't have to be super personal, impersonal. If we are not being open about our intentions and what we say to people and how we act towards people and what we really want out of people or what we need from somebody, then we're going to constantly feel fearful of that not happening because we're not communicating that. So we got to work on our ability to communicate. If you have a closed chakra, that's basically what that means. If you have issues communicating, it means you have a closed chakra. Please look at my video where I share information on how to open your throat chakra so you could have better ways to communicate your feelings and your emotions and your thoughts in a more productive way. And also, hold on, where am I at? Oh, looking for the evidence. So we have to be not only open about how we feel, but we have to be actually verbally open to ourselves and really look at the evidence that's around us. So even if you do end up expressing yourself about how you feel, you got to really ask yourself, are you really being logical? Is this really happening, or are you just making it up off the top of your head because something may have happened to you in the past and you think it's happening again and when it's really not? You got to really look at the evidence. A lot of times, this is a practice that I do. If I feel fearful, I've learned to say it out loud. Something that I realize is a lot of our fears may sound really rational within our mind, but when you say it out loud, it can sound really stupid or weird. And it feels a lot different when you actually say it out loud and make it feel and sound realistic to you. So you could actually realize how unrealistic it really is. So that's one way to really be one with your fear, is say it out loud, not only to other people, but just to say it out loud with yourself and listen to yourself saying it. So you could actually ask yourself, does this even sound rational? Do I have evidence of this even really happening? Am I just making it up based off fear? Number 5, here are some ways you could stop living in fear of some practices is mirror work. You are going to basically look at yourself in the mirror, and you could do this with the fear that you have and talk to yourself in the mirror so you could counsel yourself. You could say, I'm fearful of this, and you'll talk back to yourself as if you're talking to somebody who is speaking to you. Say, I'm fearful of losing this. I'm fearful of success, whatever it is. And then you're literally going to speak to yourself as if you're speaking to a friend in the mirror. I know some people in the house might think you're kind of weird because you're talking to yourself and responding to yourself, but this is just for you. If you need to wait till other people are not home so you're comfortable, go for it. Look in the mirror and speak to yourself. Not only speaking to yourself about your fears and learning to consult with yourself and to nourish yourself, that's going to be one of the steps as well, but also tell affirmations to yourself. Say, I am fearless. I am powerful. I am confident. I am grounded in who I am. Those are some examples. Please do not say, I am not this, because a negative is going to process in your mind as a negative affirmation. So please do not look in the mirror and say, I am not this. You're going to look in the mirror and say only positive sentences as an I am, I feel, I have, I speak, I see, I know. Those are some examples that how to start off your affirmations, and to practice self-nourishment. Because the reason why we're really fearful, a lot of it is based off of shame and guilt. So we need to really nourish ourselves. I've been doing a lot of this recently, and I've been really talking to myself and really being real with the stories of my past and asking myself, what was really my intentions? Have I changed in those intentions? What were the intentions of other people that were part of that event? Does everything really need to be on me all the time? Are there other people involved? If I'm going to hold myself accountable, that means I need to hold everybody in the party accountable as well. And that takes like half of the weight off your shoulders. It works a lot. I've been doing it with myself. Because a lot of times when we're fearful, we're basing it off of inner pain and guilt and shame that we're taking on to ourselves that we don't need to take on to ourselves, which is why mirror work works a lot, because you're teaching yourself how to self-soothe. The reason why a lot of people have really toxic habits based off fear is because the lack of ability to know how to self-soothe themselves. If we don't know how to soothe ourselves, we tend to be irrational. We tend to be argumentative. We tend to pick fights with people and act toxic and even narcissistic and stuff like that. So we need to learn to self-soothe ourselves without clinging onto other people or panicking and bringing other people into our panic mode with us. So looking at yourself and speaking to yourself in the mirror, saying positive affirmations to yourself in the mirror, and really giving yourself a break and stop taking life so seriously and understand that you are a human being. Human beings make mistakes. I've never seen ever one human being ever on this planet who has never made a mistake. We need to allow ourselves and give ourselves room to make mistakes sometimes. It's part of the human experience. It's okay. I know that it's a lot easier if you just learn to be your own best friend. If somebody came to you and asked for guidance and said, hey, can you help me with this? What would you offer that person? You need to offer yourself the same nourishment and the same love you are willing to give to other people when they come to you for advice. If we don't have any self-nourishment and love to offer ourselves, then we don't have that to offer other people, which causes us self-sabotage us, it causes us to push people away from us. So we need to learn how to self-soothe and self-nourishment so we're not pushing people away from us that want to also nourish and soothe us. So if we're doing it for ourselves, we know how to have healthy relationships, because the quality of our life is based off the quality of our relationships, not only with other people, but on our relationship with ourselves as well. So if you're watching this and you have certain techniques that you use to live fearlessly, go ahead and shoot a comment and let me know what you do to live fearlessly. My next video is going to be on a Shango meditation. I am an Yanifa and a certified meditation instructor. And one of my followers advised me and asked me to please make Orisha meditation videos. I have a whole set of Neteru videos on meditation videos, so I'm going to start my Orisha meditation videos. And the reason why I'm going to do Shango next is because he's fearless, and you cannot live in fear if you are radiating Shango energy. So if you like that kind of stuff, don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel at Mind of Ro, and be sure to hit that notification bell so you can be notified whenever I have more wisdom and enlightenment to share with you. I hope all of you are having a fearless night. Ankh Ucha Seneb. Namaste. Odabo. Peace.